Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Okay, I was just saying it's been a long week already, and it's only Tuesday. Welcome to Primetime Local News. We have a really exciting show for you tonight. It is cold out there, and that is our question of the day. How are you dealing with this cold? I'm dealing with it by a car that doesn't start.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I think I deal with it with, well, denial. I just pretend that it's not that cold, and the central heaters in my office. That's it.
Yes.
Just have those cranked
we
all
have
day.
all those little heaters underneath our desk going 24/7, let me tell you. Anyways, we'll get into that conversation. You can weigh in on our Facebook or our Twitter page. Let us know. But first, let's go check in with Brett Holden tonight.
Well, the weather outside is frightful, and no, it's not around Christmas time. It's February 5th, and we are in the middle of something that has been kind of dubbed the polar vortex. With that wind chill, it could reach temperatures of almost all the way down to -40s, the -40s, almost -50 marks. So we're here at the Olive Tree talking to them about some of the things that they would like to see coming in, just in order to help some of the people that come to Olive Tree for help. We're also talking to them about some of the foods and dinners and meals that they supply. And we'll have a little bit more on about some of the food donations that they have here. We'll have a little bit more coming up, but let's head back into the studio where Elise has a look at your local news.
Great, thank you, Brett. Well, with the temperature dropping this week, the Lloydminster Men's Shelter is keeping its doors open during the day as well. Normally, no one is allowed in the shelter between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., but with the extreme temperatures, people are allowed to stay all day.
So if it's too hot, I mean, it can be blistery hot out there, we have the same kind of policy that we don't expect the guys to go out. So right now, if it's -25 degrees, outside or colder, then they don't have to go out.
Sunhouse also says the shelter is looking for donations like socks and mittens to help people stay warm.
People that live rough, often don't have satisfactory footwear. I mean, I've noticed some of the guys have running shoes. Well, I mean, with all this snow, I mean, they're going to have cold feet, wet feet, and if they're living rough, they don't have a place to dry out their socks.
Donations can be made at the shelter, and the shelter also has one of their biggest fundraisers, the Coldest Night of the Year Walk, happening February 23rd. And earlier today, the Inspiring Women's Conference took place at the Lloyd X, and Jasmine King has more on this event.
This is the 8th annual conference. The event is a way for women to have a day where they can learn about themselves as well as learn from the other women around them.
I think it's great to have personal and professional development opportunities for all of us, and to be able to have them in your own community, I think, is important. And we have a great wealth of resources and knowledge and stories and experience in our own community to help lift each other up.
The event features many different speakers who can offer a local perspective on topics such as courage, positive mental health, and law information.
We like to present to be able to advise and give information that is not always readily available or is hard to find, and to ensure that people are getting good, valuable information.
Continuing the conference annually is something the organizers not only want to do for other women, but themselves as well.
We love doing this. Honestly, we meet such fabulous people, and everyone does have a story, and we know that, the more we do this, the more we're aware of that. People will come to us with new ideas, and they want to speak on a certain topic, or even just in our conversations, it kind of cues us to be a little more interested in what people are about.
As the event was a success again this year, attracting more women from the Lloydminster area, they hope it can become even larger each and every year. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who is at the Olive Tree today.
Well, we are in the middle of what has been dubbed as the polar vortex, and I'm joined now by Becky here at the Olive Tree. And Becky, just with this polar vortex, with you guys, what kind of donations are you guys liking to see when coming into the Olive Tree, and what happens when they come on in?
Things that are typical for our enjoyable climate: winter jackets, ski pants, warm socks, mitts, gloves, toques, that's all that kind of thing. We are open for donations Monday to Saturday, 9:30 to 5, and we're open late Thursday nights till 7. Bring it in. We're sorting it fast and getting it out to the people that need it for sure.
And when you see just kind of some of the things, I know we're right in front of the coat rack here at the Olive Tree, and they kind of get pushed out. What does it mean for you guys to be able to push that out in kind of a quick turnaround?
It's so important. I don't think there's anything worse than not having something for someone in need. Things like winter boots, we never have enough of. Or even for kids, when they're at school and they take their ski pants off, it's still nice to have a warm pair of sweatpants for at school. And just knowing that we can fulfill a need is, exactly why we're here. So it's so important to us.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at the Olive Tree, but first let's head back into the studio where Michaela's going to be telling us just how bad that polar vortex will be hitting us right now.
All right, thank you so much, Brett. Yes, we are in for probably the coldest night tonight, and bringing with it some fog and some ice patches as well. Sitting at -27, feeling like -34 degrees out there. We are going to reach -50 with that wind chill overnight and into the morning hours. So as we look to our satellite radar, just a whole bunch of cloud cover, and there are some patches of precipitation. Nothing major and nothing going to hit our area. But as we look to our watches and warnings, the entire screen is now under an extreme cold warning as that polar vortex is making its way across the prairies and most of the country, actually. So -27 is our number here in the border city currently. We are going to be dipping down. We actually broke a record today. We broke the record for cold, so we reached -33 at 8 a.m., which beat the previous record beat in the 80s. As we look further into our numbers, though, -25 degrees currently in Edmonton, -29 in Athabasca, Whitecourt sitting at -25, Cold Lake is sitting at -27 currently, Meadow Lake at -29, and then -26 for Prince Albert with Melfort sitting at -29 currently. As we look to the broadcast region, North Battleford going to sit at -35 degrees overnight, and that's before the wind chill. Going to feel closer to that -50 range, and that's going to carry over into the morning hours, that when we typically see those really cold overnight numbers. So -27 is the daytime high tomorrow. We will be seeing some sunshine. At least there's that will be sticking around. Cold Lake hitting -37 overnight, so you're going to be losing another 10 degrees from the -27 where we're currently sitting. -25 is the daytime high there tomorrow, but like I said, all across the map, these numbers are going to be reaching near -50, only taking minutes to feel frostbite there. So we are reaching -27 tomorrow, -34 is our overnight low, even colder on Thursday at -35 for our overnight low. And then Friday, we're warming up just a couple of degrees though, -25 and -31 is our overnight low. Do bundle up out there as we are getting very, very cold.
Welcome back. Keeping grain bags out of landfills is just one aspect of this next story. Gerard Lampo tells us there's now a way to keep the value added of reusable garbage in Saskatchewan.
These 4 old hog barns were built on 56 acres of land in 2000 and were abandoned in 2007. They sat empty until 2014. Since then, it's been repurposed to collect waste from 5 Saskatchewan municipalities.
The original idea was that all these barns would be a great place for economic development for the area and developing any sort of business related to waste management and to sustainability.
John Kindrachuk is a farmer who is on the cusp of turning garbage into reusable materials. This is the goal of this operation, named after the intersecting highways 16 of 43.
Each barn is 20,000 square feet with an office building, and there's a 3-cell lagoon system that we're using, one for burying waste, one for collecting leachate, and one for whatever next for expansion.
Of concern to agriculture is diverting grain bags from landfills or being burned on the farm. Clean Farms Canada is the program manager for recycling grain bags. In 2018, more than 1,000 metric tons of grain bags has been recycled.
We're assuming this is approximately 50% of the material that's out there. And our goal is definitely to try and get to that 75% recycling rate in Saskatchewan for grain bags.
Clean Farms is also interested in addressing the needs of municipalities collecting grain bags so they can get closer to recycling targets.
So that producers can bring this material in, the sites can ship the material, and the recyclers can recycle the material. So it's really an integrated partnership to make sure the material is as clean and as less contaminated as possible so that we can keep the cycle going.
Moving garbage also needs a reliable collection service. Recycling of single-use items like grain bags and plastics means it can be used again.
The cleaning of it, the processing of it, and as John was saying before, the pelletizing of it, and it's just plastic again, and it can be reused rather than being landfilled.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
And that's your egg news. Sports is next, but first we'll take a look at your egg prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Well, Becky joins us again here in the Olive Tree Kitchen now, and let's talk about some of the dinners and meals that you guys provide. You guys just had one on Monday, so let's kind of talk about some things that when people do come in, just kind of the process of that.
Free community meals are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. We open the door at 4:30 and we serve the food at 5. We serve a great meal. It's a hot meal, especially right now when it's so cold. Well-balanced, delicious meal. We send people home with leftovers, and we also distribute food through our food rescue program. Things like produce and dairy, baked goods, that sort of thing. We do offer free transportation, so this time of year that's very, very important. But we do find that our numbers are down, even though we offered free transportation, just because it's so nasty outside right now. So I think we served 76 people on Friday and 78 on Monday.
And when it comes to just the importance of having the people come in, and for you guys, especially with the way the weather is right now, let's talk about the importance and just some of the things you guys have also been doing with when it comes to the weather. I know you mentioned the free transportation as well.
Yeah, you know, they're coming a little earlier this time of year. I'm sure we're opening the door a little earlier than we normally do, and they're staying a little longer at the end. And, you know, the first trip is right to the coffee maker. So you can see the cold's definitely affecting them. And, you know, whether or not you have a place to stay or not, it's harder to get around and just do your daily life tasks.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at the Olive Tree, talking a little bit about how the polar vortex has been affecting some of the donations that may be coming in, some of the things that the Olive Tree would like to see coming in as well. We'll have a little bit more coming up, but first let's head back into the studio where Michaela has a look at just how bad that polar vortex has been hitting.
All right, well, as you look behind me, the entire map is purple, which means everywhere is pretty much under an extreme cold warning as we move from Alberta into Saskatchewan. Very cold. We actually broke a record here in the border city. We reached -33 at 8 a.m., which broke the previous record of -31 on this day, and that was set back in 1988. So, I mean, not a great record to break, but at least we're world record breakers here. -27 is our number here, feeling much colder than that. We are going to reach the -50 mark with that wind chill overnight, and that is going to continue into the morning hours. So bundle up out there. Could take only 5 minutes to be exposed to frostbite on exposed skin out there. So very, very cold as we move across the map. -28 in Vermilion, even colder in Vegreville at -33, -25 in Edmonton. And then as we move up the map, just even colder, -30 right now in St. Paul, -25 for Bonnyville, -28 in Lac La Biche, -27 in Cold Lake currently, with Pearceland sitting at -26. And then as we move into Saskatchewan, those numbers are even colder, -31 right now for Meadow Lake, -27 in St. Walburg, with North Battleford sitting at -26 currently. Now the good thing is that we are going to see some sunshine for the next few days, which was a nice change of pace today. But look at these numbers, it's not getting much better, and we are expecting these numbers until about mid-February. So -31 in La Loche, also Buffalo Narrows, a little bit warmer, but not by much, -30 up in Uranium City. For Chippewa, Alberta, cold spot today, -34, -24 in Fort McMurray, with Grand Prairie sitting at -26 currently. As we look down south, numbers not quite as cold, but definitely colder than what they are used to, especially for this time of the year. They're definitely below the seasonal average. -22 right now in Lethbridge, -17 in Banff, which would feel very nice right now, -23 for Calgary. And then as we move over into Saskatchewan, a little bit cooler as we hit -30 in Kindersley. Swift Current sitting at -26, Moose Jaw -22. Now tomorrow we are going to reach a daytime high of -27, but like I said, first thing in the morning, early morning, we are going to feel like that -50 range. So do bundle up, put on all your layers out there tomorrow. North Battleford also hitting a daytime high of -27 tomorrow, 25 out in Macklin and Provost. Tomorrow, -25 for Bonnyville. Cold Lake also hitting -25 tomorrow, with Lac-La-Biche a degree warmer, sitting at -24 for the daytime high tomorrow. Here's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast throughout the morning. So -31 at 8 a.m., but going to feel way cooler than that. And then as we move on throughout the day, -29 when the kids head home. And then look at these numbers. We are not getting much better as the week goes on. -35 is our overnight low for Thursday, with it lingering into those 30s. We are going to break that on Tuesday next week, getting out of those mid-20 numbers, so -19 there. But just bundle up and plug in your vehicle, and if you do see anyone in distress, make sure you call for help out there, as it is very, very cold.
And now we're going to go to Brett Holden, who's at the Olive Tree.
Here in the pantry now with Becky here at the Olive Tree. Now, Becky, let's just start off. We see a lot of food here, but just how long can this food on the shelf last?
Yeah, it does look like we have an abundance right now. This amount of food will last us about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, depending on what we need. We go through a lot of food. We serve up to 125 people at our free community meals. We also have our seniors luncheon every Friday, and we support 29 other groups within the city with food support, in addition to our moms program and hamper programs and things. So we're definitely in need of food items all the time. Right now I know we're short on pasta sauce and toilet paper and paper towel and things like that. So, you know, when it's cold outside, we still need food. So if people can come in or donate to one of our bins, that would be amazing.
Now, that kind of goes into my next question. I know you can't exactly predict the weather, but when it comes to times like these and even around Christmas and other kind of hampers times, when are the best times to donate food and things like that?
I think definitely, you know, Christmas time is a time when everyone thinks about donating. I'm sure I do as well, but we definitely have food needs throughout the year. And so now we're still feeding the same amount of people, but definitely the donations have dropped off a bit. So if someone wants to support us with food, they can come to our building anytime we're open, Monday to Saturday, and drop anything off. And we are unique in that we're able to take perishable foods as well. So things like milk or produce or bread products, anything like that, we're able to take.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at the Olive Tree, talking a little bit about how the polar vortex is affecting some people around the Lloydminster area. But first, let's head back into the studio where Michaela and Elise are talking about how you deal with just how cold it is.
All right, yes, that is what we are discussing today. How do you deal with this cold temperature? I just stay inside.
Yeah, me too.
I think, and that's pretty much reading the comments. Everyone's just saying, I avoid it and pretend it's not happening.
Yeah.
So we're with you, you guys. Something else that can warm us up on a cold day like today, some pets. Yeah. I feel like this always puts everyone in a good mood. This guy's real cold, though. This is Rudy. There he is, enjoying those cold temperatures. This one's Jake. That was sent to us by Karen. Thanks for sending that one in. Next up, we have Chaos. Chaos is 20.
Wow.
20 years old.
That's incredible.
Amazing. Thank you, Stephanie, for saying that in. This is Charlie looking out the window. That was sent to us by JJ. And then last but certainly not least, look at this. This is Chip. And that is his stuffy named Dip. I love it. That was sent to us by Desiree. If you have a pet you would like to see here on Primetime Local News, send us a picture. Please include your pet's name, and if they are selected, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to the Lloydminster Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
All right, Becca Lawrence joins me for another edition of Pet Project, as it is we do every Tuesday. You have brought us two very adorable feline friends with us today. Let's start with the guy that you have. big guy.
Yeah.
He is and he has got quite the name. So what's his name?
Yeah, so this is Ebenezer.
I love it.
So, I mean, obviously he came in kind of around Christmas time. He's been in the shelter for about 53 days. But he does not match his name. He's quite an affectionate dude, and he loves attention. So, I mean, he would just be so great in any home. I think obviously a good lap kitty as well, too. And neutered, vaccinated, deworm, microchip, the whole works.
So he is ready to go. How old is he?
We think that he's just over a year old. So,
okay, so he's still fairly young.
Yes, he's fairly young.
Just out of those kitten days. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, he's so friendly and so cuddly, and he was meowing for everyone's attention earlier. She's a little bit more shy, but we have Alina. Alina. Okay, so what can you tell us about this? She is a tiny girl.
Yeah, she's only about 5.5 months still, so she's just a baby yet. And but she came in just by herself. And we actually put her in with another kitten, probably about the same age as her, a couple weeks ago, and they got along so well. So I think she would be really happy in a home with another cat. We haven't tested her with a dog, but she just seems like she's got the demeanor to get along with everybody.
Yeah, she's very chill. Even here, just sitting, she's just content, purring, doesn't really scratch. And she's younger still.
Yeah, she's still a baby. So, I mean, she's going to be quite active, I think. So if you have a house full of kids or something, that might be great for them too.
Tucker her out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys have a community event coming up tomorrow. So what can you tell us about tomorrow's event?
Yeah, so it's the Service Sports Center Spring Community Night. So we're just going to be there talking about the SPCA and even having licenses, things like that there. So we're just going to be there just to be a part of the community night as well too. So so we'll be there from 4 to 8 tomorrow.
And a lot of people don't know that once you do license your pet, it actually benefits the SPCA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all of it goes back into the SPCA. And then it really benefits your animal as well too. If they come in and it has its license on, or even that microchip as well too, we can get that animal home to you ASAP.
Yeah,
so it's really handy.
So obviously next week being Valentine's Day, and you guys are having the animals involved once again. So you guys will be doing your kissing booth photos. So what are the details on that, and where can people go?
So we are going to do it at PetSmart and Pet Value. So on the 12th and the 13th, and I believe we're doing it from 5 until 8 p.m. So anytime in between there, you want to bring your animals to the kissing booth and get a nice picture. That's what you can do. And I believe about $5 we're charging for the photos as well too. So
yeah, and you guys print them right off on location. You get to take them home right away.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then another really exciting event coming up shortly is your cat brewery. You guys are going to be doing it yet again this year at 4th Meridian.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun last year. So when is it this year, and what can people expect?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to do it like the second week in March. So the 13th or the 14th, I can't remember which exactly day, but we're going to start advertising for that right away as well too. And same thing, it'll be in the evening as well. I'm still hashing out a few more details with them and everything. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It seemed like it was a hit last year, and a lot of people really seemed to enjoy it. So I'm quite excited for it.
Yeah, it was definitely a great time. Awesome. Well, Becca, thank you so much for bringing it. They're so friendly. Look at them. They are both loving life. If you're interested in either of the cats you saw here on Pet Project, you can head down to the SPCA and check them out in person, or you can visit their website, as they have lots of animals on there that are ready for their forever home. So happy adopting, and thank you so much, Becca, for joining us again today.
Pet Project is brought to you by Quick Pick Waste Disposal, Lloydminster's #1 waste and recycling hauler. Quick Pick is waste collection you can depend on.
All right, I am joined with Amanda Pre today, and we talk a lot of different things with you because you wear a lot of different hats, but today we are talking about once the baby comes, sleeping patterns, getting them into a routine, healthy routines and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of talk to you first, one, about the importance of it and how you can kind of even go about tackling that kind of thing.
Yes, so sleep is very important. As an adult, it's something we all want, especially when we have those babies, and it's something that we lack.
Yeah.
So getting your baby off to the right start definitely is very helpful. We actually say getting them into a bedtime routine is the golden ticket for good sleep. So what happens here is it helps them go to sleep easier. if the routine is very consistent every night, as well as not as many wake-ups in the night.
Right. And can you give me an example of like a routine that tends to work out? Is it usually like a bath, or like when you eat? Like what are the kind of like set routines that you can kind of get them going on that path?
For sure.
Yeah.
So we usually like to start with a bath. So a bedtime routine, we say, should take no longer than 30 minutes.
Okay.
That way we're not dealing with an overtired child.
Yeah.
Right? And timing is really key as well. So we don't want them to be too overtired or too undertired, because that can allot to a lot of crying in an infant. So we start with a bath. It doesn't have to be a wild bath, just a nice, calm, relaxing bath. A little massage with some lotion is always great to add in there as well. It helps decrease their stress level, gets them kind of ready for bed, and can help increase those melatonin levels, which babies don't have at birth.
Sure.
And then we go into putting on pajamas, a sleep sack, getting them comfy and cozy, then going to a little story, a song, a feed, and then into the crib.
Awesome. And that starts you, when do you kind of want to start that routine? Kind of right at the start?
Yeah, so with new moms, you're kind of trying to figure it all out in the first couple of weeks, but once you're kind of ready, you'll know, like you just kind of start into a routine. So with a newborn baby, you want to look at bedtime between 9 and 11.
Okay.
Around the 4-month mark, then we can start to bump bedtime back to about 7:30 to 8:30.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, and I was going to ask you, does the kind of, as the baby gets older, does the routine kind of change timing-wise? Can you kind of drop things out, or is it kind of the best way to just kind of keep it consistent up until which age, basically, would you kind of keep that going?
I say keep the bedtime routine pretty consistent until you need to drop the timing back. And you'll know as your baby gets older, they'll need more awake time. That way we can back bedtime up, as well as the feed might change around the 3 and 4 month mark.
Right.
You'll want to move the feed right before they go to sleep to kind of to the beginning before the bath.
Oh, okay.
So you want to make sure that they get a nice feed, make sure they're not distracted, so their little tummies are full. And then kind of go through the steps, and bed should be the last thing.
Perfect. And just one question for you with regards to when they do fall asleep and then the wake up in the night and they're crying, is it best that you kind of let them kind of self-soothe, or what are your thoughts on that and how to tackle that situation?
Yeah, so I mean, parents can always reach out to me to ask questions specifically for their baby and kind of their pattern and what's kind of going on in the night. But to just kind of give them a few minutes, because in the beginning babies are really noisy and sometimes they don't need us to respond, and we do. Especially if we have other children in the house or a husband who needs to wake up, we kind of jump out of bed and respond to the baby right away. And that's something we can kind of wait a little bit to see if they really need us.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Well, thank you for all our information, and hopefully that helps if you've got a baby at home, and hope everyone gets a good sleep. So thank you for coming in. We appreciate it, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.